I will call the meeting to order of the Cherryville City Council on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at 5:30. Our first item of business is to approve our agenda. So I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
as submitted.
I'll second it.
Jill seconds it. Is there any discussion about the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor? Say aye. All opposed? There is none. The second item is the proposed building standards ordinance. Mr. Steve Panton is with us tonight. Steve?
I know that many of you have seen various iterations of this, but one more time we're going to come through and propose to you. And you should have this document up there for you to look at. So there in the front, just so we're all clear what we're doing, trying to maintain our building stock, which others say is an absolute gold mine, and it is. And so what are we doing? So tonight's purpose is just to propose to you a really executable way forward. We've talked about this many times, and I think you'll see as we go through this we're saying, okay, how can we actually make this happen? That's a win-win for the merchants and for the city as well, and merchants and owners, I should say. So there on slide 3, the recommendation to the council tonight.
Hang on one second.
I don't have that. It's not in our thing, I don't believe.
You gave him a paper copy, didn't you? Oh, we left them on my desk. I'm sorry. I apologize. They're still on my desk. I run out. Can you run by?
You can.
They're sitting
You
on
want to
my
swap?
desk.
We can pick this up at the end.
My bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. I run out. I was on the phone and I left them sitting on my desk.
Okay.
That is totally my fault.
Hey.
Yeah, we
Instant
might
season.
can move on to the next.
Yes, we'll just move on to the next item. Yes, consideration of awarding the bid for the oxidation ditch. Mr. Brian Dalton, are you prepared for that one, Mr. Dalton?
Okay, the oxidation ditch. At the wastewater treatment plant, if you remember, approximately 2 years ago, we have 2 oxidation ditches. About 2 years ago, we redid the oxidation ditch, new concrete, new gearboxes, everything new. So when we did that, we transitioned to using the new oxidation ditch. So now we're trying to redo the second oxidation ditch. So we took bids on that, and you can see that Harper ended up being the lowest bid at $775,985 to redo that bid, that oxidation ditch. So at this point, what we're wanting to do is this would be paid for, if you remember, some of the grant funds that we had from the state that we received 2 years ago, the $1.6 million. We'll have about $100,000 left from that grant that we would put towards this project, and then the other funds would be pulled from our water and sewer bond to pay for this oxidation ditch. We have approximately $2.6 million still in the water and sewer bond that we need to use for projects like this, so we would pull the rest of it from there to pay for this project. And that would make it to where years to come, as we continue to grow with the residences, we'd have 2 oxidation ditches that we would have, to be able to utilize. And I would probably say the last time we actually had both oxidation ditches in use was when Travis Nitz was still in operation. So since they've went out of operation, we've not had enough flow to utilize both oxidation ditches. So, this would prepare us for the future, for our growth, and give us the ability to be able to handle the flow when it comes. So I'm asking tonight that we award the bid to Harper, that you can see there in your packet.
Okay.
I'm not rushing, right?
What was the name of that company?
Harper.
Harper.
Yeah, I think it might have cut
It
off a
cut
little
off
bit
the
on
top,
your,
yeah.
on your
Yeah,
agenda packet.
And this would also set us up, if there were a failure in the one ditch, we could always switch
Correct.
over to the other one, so.
Correct.
It's a no-brainer.
And that's what
I'll
Chris
make
and
a
I-
motion, we go ahead and award that to Harper.
Second,
Is there any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from council? Hearing none, all in favor of awarding this bid to Harper?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So the contract is awarded to Harper for the second oxidation ditch. All righty, moving on to the next item. Consideration of the text amendment for the sign ordinance.
Yes. Mayor, council, we have a public hearing set for March, our March regular meeting for our sign ordinance to be looked at. The planning board has already met and discussed this matter, and I'm just gonna let Mr. Elam fill you in on what occurred there. And this is just giving you an update on what we're looking at coming up in March at the public hearing.
Good evening. The planning board met last Monday night. I'm still working on the minutes and everything because I've been really busy. But what you have in your agenda is what was presented to the planning board. And I'm working on correcting that copy and making sure you get it to look over it in time for the next meeting. They did make some changes and recommendations, and like I said, I'll give it to you for the public hearing.
So there's no action to be taken tonight by the
No, ma'am,
city
since
council. This
No,
is,
ma'am.
the document is for us to study. And
Mr. Elam, I'm sorry, but the document you handed out tonight, is that with the recommendations of the
Right.
planning board?
But I'll try to get the minutes to them also.
okay,
Okay.
minutes to accompany this document.
Yes.
For us to study, okay.
Yes.
And if you look through that document, you'll see there in red, that's where the changes are that the planning board has recommended or staff has recommended.
so, to be clear, so right now, every one of those little small business signs in the city of Cherryville is against our zoning ordinance
That's
currently.
correct.
And every political sign or any sign in the Main Street District is against our zoning ordinance. Is
That's
that
correct.
Okay.
It has been, I guess.
In B1?
Anything in B1.
Yeah. You can't have political
Yeah,
signs in
political
B1.
or they're not allowed in the business district.
But we'll be holding the public hearing
Yes.
next meeting, March.
That is correct. I think we should, actually start with a clean slate. I would like to make a motion that effective March the 9th, that every one of those signs that are in violation of our current zoning be gone. And once we meet on March the 9th and we do decide on a new zoning statement, that we will be starting with a clean slate. And those signs can be placed back based on what we decide at that meeting.
If I can, the election is next Tuesday, so we're extremely close to the election. Personally, my recommendation to make it simple, so we don't, go out there and try to, change things that people may not have even realized that they couldn't put something in the B1 district. Because, I could see where all the elected officials that are putting signs up, they might not understand and know that they couldn't put them in the B1 district. So I hate to go out there and just take them up.
According to Gaston County, theirs should be gone 3 days after the election, this would give them extra days. So the election's the 3rd, they should be gone by the 6th, according to the county
Is it
election
3 days or
board.
10 days in our ordinance?
10.
Is it?
10
Okay,
days.
it's 10, okay.
It's 10 days. So, kind of, and basically, whatever changes or if any changes are made at the public hearing, I think it sets us up going forward for the next election, that we're in a position that we can enforce it early, where if somebody puts out a political sign in B1, nope, can't do that, you know. With it being this close to the election being over, I
Well,
also.
well, excluding the political in B1, because y'all, these signs are everywhere. And every one of them's in violation of our zoning. So like I say, if we go ahead and notify them, you got to the 9th to get them up. And then we're gonna meet on the 9th and we're gonna make, a decision. And then going forward, here's how you can put them out. Because if we wait till the 9th, these signs are still everywhere for,
I know I don't have any of my information left over, but I know the Board of Elections does give you printout information about your signs. And I couldn't find any of mine left over. I went to look for it because it does state where you can put them. And I know we've never had any in the downtown before, but
Yeah, we've got, I mean, and it's really, I would say it's primarily one property owner where these signs are located, if you ride in our B1 district and look where the political signs are. You know, the thing, the enforcement of it, you know, it's 30 days prior to the election. That's the big one that I feel like got extremely violated, is they were putting them out way before they were supposed to. You know, and that's something we're gonna have to do a better job when the next election comes up. As far as saying, hey, can't do this, you got to come get them, or we're gonna take them and you can come get them from City Hall, whatever it might be. Because the ordinance is pretty clear, and I think that's probably a standard probably throughout Gaston County. I would dare to say that we're the only one that says 30 days prior to the election. That's probably everywhere, but this election cycle specifically, it seems like we've been inundated with a lot of signs that were way past.
Richard, are they required to get a permit?
Not for political signs.
Not for political
Not for
signs?
political.
Okay,
Gaston County Board of Elections has all the cities.
yes,
And it was furnished to all the candidates. And when we do make changes, we will send them the updated ordinance so that it'll be for the next election, they'll know.
yes.
okay.
I think we ought to wait till a public hearing, hash it all out then. Adopt the new rules and go from there.
I think that makes it a little cleaner and easier for staff, I believe, if we do that. Because right
Feel
now
better
we've
about
got,
it too, they have
Yeah, I mean,
a
that's-
chance to have input.
John, will you withdraw your motion? Or you leave your motion on the table?
like I say, every one of them's in violation, and I'm willing to compromise, and I think we're heading in the right direction. But y'all, we've done too much to beautify our town to have it junked up by these signs, and they're everywhere you go.
You're correct.
They're
You are
everywhere you
correct.
go. So if, you know,
and it's
I'm willing
not
to
just
wait, I
political.
just, you know,
It's
I
not
just thought
just
we
political.
could
You
start
think
at a
it-
clean slate, but
I know, I felt like he did about it also. It looks horrible, and in a lot of different places. But you're feeling like we should just wait and just,
I think there's already been so much dialogue between some of these people that are putting these signs out and staff and other elected officials. You know, I think it will be good if we can get to the public hearing, get some rules in place that we know that we're agreeing upon, and then let us enforce it from there. I think it will be cleaner and easier.
Let me ask you this, how are people being notified about the public hearing?
Advertised 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays prior to the meeting in the Eagle section of the Lincoln Time News.
Can we put it on our website also?
Yes, we can do that.
Let's put it on our website also.
We can absolutely do that.
Yes.
We're
We'll
not
do the
notifying
website.
anybody that's in violation right now.
and Adam Reagan, if he knew about it, he would notify them to move it anyway,
Well,
because he's pretty
yeah.
tough about it.
so based on discussion, I will remove my
Motion.
motion.
Thank you,
We'll
John.
do that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, let's go back to Mr. Panton.
I apologize again for that, my bad.
Okay, so, let's go back to, item 2.
This will make a little more sense to you now.
You said you got it in front of you, and I'm like, no,
What's he talking about?
I don't.
That's on me. That's on me.
I was looking down in here, I thought it was in there.
Okay, all right, Steve, you're going to start over with our proposed, building standards ordinance, okay?
Right. So this cover slide, I think, tells a story that this note from North Carolina Main Street, Cherryville's building stock is a gold mine, and we all agree to that. And what we're trying to work all these years is, okay, what's the best way forward for us to maintain that building stock? So on slide 2 there, our purpose tonight is just to propose to you a way forward, and we think it's a win-win, both for the building owners as well as for the city. So the recommendation tonight there on slide 3 is going to be to place on the March 9th agenda a vote on conducting a April 13th public meeting regarding this ordinance. So I want to just say we've had a lot of, on slide 4, a lot of chat with a lot of folks at the coordination with the zoning administrator, enforcement officer, the city manager, the Main Street Board of Directors, and there's I think a great consensus that we're on the right track. The only thing is there's some debate about some timelines or whatever, but I think this has really gotten so far a great response from experts that are looking at it. So there's slide 5, just a couple of facts bearing on the problem that we're talking about. We know that we've had a significant investment downtown, no doubt, from the city as well as from private investors. There's still lots of distressed properties that need to be addressed. There are some gaps in the zoning ordinance, which is circa 2002. And we've taken a close look at that, and we think this ordinance that we're going to talk about tonight will close up some of the gaps that are in the existing zoning ordinance. And then we have had previous discussions about a building standards ordinance. A couple of years ago, we had one over the fire department. We had a work session. We had a building standards ordinance, which is not quite as tight as the one that we're going to talk about tonight. We also talked about it at the same time, a vacant building ordinance, and we just thought as we started massaging that probably both of those together was probably too much of a heavy lift for the city and a heavy lift for the building owners. But what we're going to propose, as you'll see here in a moment, is a way forward where we're going to actually be able to put some money behind this for them and make it a win-win. So in slide 6, we got facts bearing on the problem. This is a view of the Cherryville Incentive Grant program that the council has for many years now put a significant amount of money in. And we just go through what those are. The different facades, the front, rear, the roof, window, HVAC, and an interior with differing amounts. And most of these are set in place between 10 and 20 years. And so that money is well spent. And so significantly for us, if you look there on that 4th column over, the FY26 pending, we think we've got about 42,000 remaining, and I'll be flat honest with you. With David Day's departure, I wanted to kind of reconfirm some of these numbers. But when I last talked to him, that was true. And then if you look over there on that next column, second from right, what kind of funding would it take to actually take care of many of the issues with the incentive grant program? And we think we need about 108,000. And we've on that far right column, potential grantees. When I last talked to David, we had lots of discussions about which building, which property. I need to relook at that, to be honest with you. But the idea remains that we think if we've got about $108,000 worth of approximately that we would need to put into the incentive grant program. And so if we take the remaining 42,000 from this year and what may put in next year, we'll be in good shape. So I'm not going to belabor slide 7, how the incentive grant program works. I'm very familiar with that. And an assumption here is that the council is going to continue to want to fund the incentive grant program, and that the ordinance will be ratified about April 13th. The reason that's important as an assumption, because we have some of our timelines are tied to the assumption that the ordinance will be ratified about April 13th. So the clock starts ticking after that moment. So on slide 9, as we start talking about the ordinance itself and what's in it, and to be sure, I will need to hand to you the actual written ordinance. After we have this conversation tonight, I want to go back and really massage the actual written language. This is an overview of what's in there before. So the stated purpose of the ordinance, just in a nutshell, is to maintain the property downtown, keep it from blighting. And on slide 11, the applicability, of course, is our B1 Central Business District. Therein, this ordinance will have stated responsibilities. We're so glad that we have an enforcement officer here, and that's one thing that makes this possible for us to actually get there. So to look at the inspection and permits, and then our downtown director helping identify the noncompliance, working the architectural review board and the incentive grant program and tying those two together. That's a beautiful marriage. And then also working for tax credits if we get to that point. Most property owners don't want to mess with tax credits just because some of the strictures are a little bit tight. So there on slide 13, what's going to be in place once this is ratified, assuming the council does ratify it, is that you'd have all the fire and building codes. You'd also have the zoning ordinance, and you'd also have this ordinance we're talking about, which are specific standards for the central business district. So those three things will be in place once council ratifies. On slide 14, I won't belabor this. This is this data that mirrors right out of the existing zoning ordinance, what the timelines are and what the penalties are. And there's lots of discussion, in various places. Gosh, the penalties aren't very great. That's true, except when that thing starts accruing daily, then it becomes a big deal. So those strictures are again right out of the zoning ordinance. I wanted to be sure that it mirrored it. So you get down to slide 15, and you start. This is where it starts getting specific. So if you look on the left column, where we talk about what those issues are, and I won't get into the great detail, but you talk about graffiti, awnings and disrepair, faded paint, visible disrepair, opaque windows, leaking roofs, and the requirement is to fix them. And if you go on to the next page on 16, no window display. So we can't just have a display window with nothing in it. It needs to have some sort of a display, and talks about either a piece of art, or it could be items for sale, or something that makes it look like it's not just an abandoned building. It has a stricture against hand-drawn signage. You can't just take a paintbrush and paint guns and guitars on the window anymore. You can't have dead flowers out front. There's one about faded trailers in there. So no new trailers, and you need to refurbish the ones you have. Interestingly enough, I talked to a building owner today who has a trailer and said this would be great. We'd love to refurbish it if you could give us a facade grant to do. And then unapproved furniture, you can't just put any old furniture out that you want. It has to be approved by the Architectural Review Board. In the zoning ordinance already is information about the sidewalk clearance, and page 17, abandoned signs, outdoor storage, indoor storage. I know the council has probably seen all that before. So here, let me just ask you to turn back for just 1 second, if you will. You start back on to slide 15 and following. I think the big issue is, we can say, those things are pretty obvious that we need to take care of. the question before us all is, okay, how quickly do you actually move forward to try to solve that? And you've got to make this reasonable, because people have been sitting here with issues for years, and then suddenly we come and say, you gotta fix this. So we're trying to give some grace period in there. So what we're showing here is we're giving folks a 90 days of grace. So if we ratify in mid-April, we'll let the clock start ticking in May, where we say, okay, 90 days from May 1st, that's when you have to start having some of these things done. So it would get into the August timeframe. So again, 90 days grace once this is in place. So these that are 90 days grace, it's pretty easy for folks to take care of most of these things. I'm going to talk to you in a moment just about windows and boarded windows. That's the big deal. But anyway, we put in the 90 days grace because it seemed like that would make it palatable for building owners and executable, and they would have time to, knowing this was coming, to get incentive grants and get lined up. Then we get into 18, slide 18, if you could. This is the issue of broken windows and boarded windows. If you up there at the top two lines, we talk about broken display windows on the top left column, or a broken front door. I don't know of any place in our central business district right now where that's the case. But if it were, we would still give them 90 days grace. But then you get into the big issue of those next two, of broken side, rear, or upper story windows. And there's a bunch of those. Or boarded side, rear, upper story windows. So what we're saying there is we would give 12 months grace there to help and say, okay, there's money available for facade grants in some case. In some cases, it'd just be a window grant. And as we talk to property owners and say, okay, we're saying that we've identified that's an issue, and you were thinking you should apply for one of these grants, which gives you, in most cases about half of what you need to fix it if you'll fix the other half. And we've given you this extended timeline so you know that it's not coming right on you. We think that's going to make it a lot more palatable for the business owners, and say, okay, this is a good thing. And it's this kind of language and this kind of conversation we're having, where we've got some property owners, some of the major property owners here, say, okay, this is good. We want to move forward with that. And again, I'll just say this: there's a lot of conversation has occurred over the years. Okay, do you have a 12-month grace? Do you have 2 years grace? Do you have 3 years grace? Do you do 5 years grace? And you can make a case. And if you hold it out too long, people just forget about it, and the staff will have changed and the council will have changed, and it won't happen. So that's one reason why we're looking at this 1 year grace. On slide 19, an important slide. Hey, what about folks that are trying to do right, and they're in mid-construction and all that? Isn't there some kind of an exemption? And the answer is yes. So we're saying a possession of $100 renovation permit, which would be good for a year, and proof of active renovation, something's going on. And since we have an enforcement officer, we have somebody can say, okay, yes, there's something actually happening here, so we'll give you grace. And again, as a city manager, and I've had conversations, the intent of this is not to go punch somebody in the nose. The intent is, okay, let's all get together and say we want our downtown. All of us will agree, because they're building owners. It's like having an HOA. You want your house to look great in the middle of a great neighborhood. And so I think that's why I'm getting great response so far. And the city wants all the properties to look great. So when that entrepreneur drives down the street and says, hey, this is where I want to come, I'm putting my business here. So, but anyway, those folks that are not on, they are not trying to not do well. They're trying to do the right thing. So there's got to be an exemption clause, and so that's what that on 19 is. And then on 20, slide 20, this ordinance will just restate some of the provisions that are already existing in the zoning ordinance. There is, new construction's got to be screened, and there's language about awning clearance and depth, building materials, roof design, and no chain link fencing. So all that's already in there. We just wanted to say, hey, in this ordinance, just so you know, if you come to construct something new downtown, this is in there. We also putting this in here on page 21, slide 21, the reuse or the renovation design standards. Okay, no barred windows unless it's legally required to have it. Window tinting has to be at least 35% visible light transmission, and that honestly I found out is a Gaston County building ordinance. Who knew? It's there. Awnings, fabrics preferred, plastic is prohibited. The information about materials and design for the zoning ordinance is pretty explicit in the zoning ordinance, and the paint color and the scheme is approved by the ARB. And that last bullet is important: unpainted or unstained brick surfaces left unpainted and or unstained. And that's always a big issue when we're talking about upkeep downtown. Can I paint that surface? Can I not paint that surface? And what we're saying is let's lock it in and say if it is a unpainted or unstained brick surface, it needs to stay that way, unless it could come up with some sort of a variance. So closing this up pretty quickly on slide 22, just in that ordinance there'll be a listing of the historic tax credit requirements. Again, most property owners opt not to use this because some of the strictures are so specific that it kind of forces you to do things that they don't want to do, and rather than doing what's right. And then also in that the same ordinances will be a list of requirements for approval of exterior work. So you've got to go through the ARB, you've got to have a zoning permit from the city, you've got to have a building permit from the county, and you got to comply with all other state codes. So that's what we're proposing to put in a ordinance. And again, look to in the front of this. What's we're after tonight is on slide 3. There is it to place on the March 9th agenda a vote on conducting an April 13th public meeting regarding enacting this ordinance.
So basically, we would set the public hearing in March, have it in April, and then make a decision whether we want to go forward with the ordinance as it is or any changes that council would recommend. Obviously, Steve's been working with Main Street committees on these ordinances and looking at them. So, everybody's had their input as far as what we need. And this is really, the grant program for Main Street has probably been in place, I'm gonna say at least 10 years. Would you agree? Probably somewhere around there.
Less than, but it's more than 5. I'd say 7 or 8 maybe. I don't know.
And we've been putting, anywhere from $75,000 to $85,000 per year to that program. So this is, obviously we're getting to the point where most buildings have already capitalized on the grant program, whether it be for a roof, a facade, or whatever it might be. So they're not going to be eligible for anything for a long time. So this is the last push really to try to get the buildings we have left to take advantage of this grant program, a good partnership between the city and individual owners, and try to get these buildings up to where they need to be. And then we can move on to other areas that we try.
Steve, has all the property owners in B1 been aware that this is a proposal in front of the city council?
No, they're not all aware. Some of the major, I'll just put it right on the table. Patrick O'Leary with his stand-in Vicky Sperling, who of course there's 28 or 29 of the properties that he owns. She's seen it.
She's on your ARB.
Right, she's on the
committee, so
ARB.
she's aware of the ordinance and what we're looking at.
But no,
To be fair, I think everybody should be aware.
Yeah.
Every property owner.
right.
should be aware that this is before the city council.
Absolutely. I think that,
And Ms. Hovis, that's where the March public hearing, setting the public hearing, that's where the public gets made aware, because they'll have the opportunity to come to that public hearing.
I know, but,
Steve,
I
how many
think sooner
property
the
owners-
better.
yeah, how many property owners are still out of town? Do you know, that own buildings here that are?
it's a small handful.
Smaller now.
I don't have the data in my,
That's fine.
in my head. I know, but I know it's a.
They really need to
It's a
get a
small
lot of
number.
this.
Yes,
And,
yes, they do.
And you gotta remember, we're talking about a small number of properties
Yeah.
that this even applies to. I mean, well, I know we went through it one day and looked. It was probably less than 10 properties, I would say.
Well, I mean, if you can look and you can find a little issue here and a little issue there, so it's more than that. But, to me, one of the major issues is the boarded windows. There's a lot of those, and that's been a long-standing issue. But you can't tell somebody who's had a boarded window for 2 decades and suddenly got to get it fixed next week. And oh, by the way, there's no money for it. So again, the biggest issue for me, by far, is the boarded window issue, and this is a way to solve that, which is one reason why we've got a year pushing this thing out a year, because some of the little issues, okay, this needs a little paint job here, or this needs a little brush up here, or, get rid of those, dead flowers there, or whatever, those sorts of things. Those are easy to do. The big one, the hard one to do, is fixing the windows, and that's going to be the one that's going to have a lot of folks scratching their head.
I just felt like, to be fair to the property owners, that the sooner they realize this is coming, the better. I mean, I don't want to wait till the public hearing. Am I making myself clear here?
You're thinking, the ones that have
I
not
think-
done anything
Yeah,
need
the-
to
yeah,
be
the ones.
notified right away.
The sooner they can be notified, I think the better. That's my,
And we're not taking any action tonight, it's gonna be on
Oh,
our
no.
agenda in March.
Oh, no, we're
We'll
not
set the
taking any
public
action
hearing.
tonight.
Yeah.
It's just a
So, yeah,
recommendation.
we can talk about that, how that could happen. I mean, there's lots of ways. I'm a big
And just
believer in
thinking
letting
about it, just thinking about it off the top of my head, like, obviously, Mr. O'Leary and Vicky are aware of all this.
sure.
And then we have one other building that I can sit here and think of that I know has had boarded windows for a long time that we're gonna have to address. So I think they all know it's coming because they've been talked to over the years about it. And this is a way that the city is going in really partnership with them. Hey, we're trying to address this issue, and we're not asking you to do it on your own. We're gonna do it with you. We're gonna do it with you, with this grant program.
We're gonna pay for half of it, right?
It probably would.
Or
Yeah, I think
to a
most of
certain
the
extent. Yeah, there's a
Well,
limit to it, but yeah.
I think it's a very good proposal, and I appreciate all the hard work you've done, Steve, in putting these slides together. I wish we could have had them up here for everybody to see, but I appreciate all the work you've done.
Awesome. Okay, I don't know protocol. Am I dismissed?
Okay, has anybody got any more questions?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve, so much.
A lot of work.
A lot of work. That's a lot of work put into that, yes. Okay, we'll move to item number 5. Discussion of potential purchase of 120 South Mountain Street. Mr. City Manager.
I'm gonna actually call Chief Hunsucker up and let him start this conversation about 120 South Mountain Street.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Manager Dalton. Just as a little refresher here, the police department's been in the building we're in since 1995. The building was purchased by the city in 1993. That building was formerly the Rutherford Electric Building and was built back in the 60s. Best I can tell, tax record shows 1960, but then there's some paperwork that says 1958, 59. So that building's been around a while. Currently, we have officers at the police department who are sharing different offices. I've got one office that's got 3 officers. I've got a patrol lieutenant, a detective, and a captain all in that one office. So if you've got 3 phone conversations, you're in a 13-foot room, 13 by 9 room. It's kind of tight and gets a little loud in there. 2 of those guys are actually supervisors. The detective is not. So if those 2 supervisors have to talk to an individual, then they have to go to a different room, or they have to ask the detective to step out, so there's not some confidentiality stuff go on. So with that being said, in our evidence room, we've taken our training room to put our evidence in. There's certain things of evidence we have to keep forever. There's stuff we can't get rid of. Most of it we can get rid of after the 20-year mark, some prior to that. So we're taking in a lot of evidence now, a lot more than what we used to years ago. We don't have the ability to get rid of it like we did years ago. So we're running out of room in that evidence room. We're running out of room in closets. Offices are crowded. Just our everyday equipment, extra uniforms, extra, boots, belts, stuff we try to keep on hand. So if an officer happens to tear a pair of pants, he can go in the quartermaster room and get a uniform. I mean, it's packed full, and we just have so much stuff that we have to keep on hand. So my proposal is, there's a building located right beside City Hall. It's 120 South Mountain Street. That is the building there. I think it's in your slideshow. It's the former medical office building. That building on the bottom floor is 4,300 square feet. There's an additional 1,607 square feet upstairs that's unfinished at this point. Currently, we have about 3,800 square feet total. So we would almost double. We would be right at 6,000 square feet minus 20, somewhere around the 5,900 and some change on square footage. So this building it already has a kitchen area in it, a break room. All the offices are in great shape. The flooring's in great shape. There would be some walls that we would have to change around and do a little sheetrock here and change some doors. But other than that, there's not there's not a ton of construction that we would have to do to get into this building super quick. Size-wise, this building would be great for us and would get us pushed out for the next 25 years as far as the police department goes. So, we're cramped. Getting out on 150 for us in the afternoons, sometimes midday for us, if our guys have a hot call, and say it's not a hot call, but it's an urgent call, you may have to sit there 2.5, 3 minutes to get out. I have sat there as long as 7 minutes to get out on Highway 150. So it makes it kind of tough where we're at right now, and traffic being as heavy as it is. The picture here that Manager Dalton has on the screen, that's the upstairs portion. That is 1,600 square feet unfinished. That is where we propose making our evidence room, and we would have a training room in that area. And that would give us about 400 square feet more in evidence than what we have now. It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you put shelving in there and, the ceilings are a lot higher in that building upstairs than what we have now, so we can go taller with our shelving and some of that stuff. So this building has a lot of potential for the police department. And
I think it's great that you're gonna be joining that whole block, that section of the block, and getting more parking.
yeah, I mean, the city would basically own that whole block if we decide to go this route with this building. Other than the bank building on the corner, because we already have the rescue squad building. So, plus it would put us back uptown as far as being seen and, close proximity to the downtown district and all that. So we've got several. We have several drawings that we've included in the packet. The floor plan is pretty much laid out. I actually have a little better drawing than that one, but that was just kind of a quick hand sketch when we were trying to throw this together. But every downstairs alone, we would gain 3 offices where we do not have offices now. So each one of those 3 that share an office, they would get an office at that point in time, so that they could have their own private conversations and that kind of stuff. So.
Obviously from the city standpoint, I like the idea of getting the police back uptown like we've talked about for several years.
The merchants will love it.
Yeah. We would, I'm gonna say, within the next 2 to 3 years, we are really gonna be hurting for space at our current police department. So with the additional space and, the 1,600 square feet upstairs that we can go up there, put some sheetrock, put some floors, and create our evidence room and our training room, we get a lot of value that we don't have right now. Like I said, we've given up a training room at our current police department just for the evidence room. We have, like Chief said, 3 officers, a detective, a captain, whatever, a lieutenant, sharing an office. Here, we don't have to do that, and it's laid out to fit our needs perfectly going forward. It gives us the space we need to where it's going to be adequate. We feel like for at least 20, 25 years going forward, seeing where we go. We also will have the old ambulance bay behind there that they can use. Let's say the police has to seize a vehicle. Well, they're going to have a bay in an area there that they can put that vehicle in to store that vehicle. And, a lot of cases in law enforcement, that becomes a requirement. You have to put it in a secure location. So that gives us that right there at the police department. And, talking, through this building, I guess it was a year or 2 ago, I saw, the lease sign or for lease sign, and we actually contacted the owner of the building then, and they were not willing to even discuss selling it at all. All they wanted to do was lease it. But since then, they've got a new owner. They had a business in there that has now went out, and now they're open to selling the building. So when we saw it come up for sale a few weeks ago, we reached out to them and said, hey, we see this building is on the market, and that's where we started talking to them about the price and everything. And we went back and forth a little bit on the price, but you can see that they have come down from their initial offering. They didn't come down a lot. They were initially asking $1,150,000. The bottom line we was able to get them down to was $1,125,000. But you can see
The appraisal's not in that.
but you can see that they bought the building in March of '24 for $1,275,000. And there's an appraisal that has come out. The appraisal come in at right at 1.3 million.
It was 1.290.
So what I feel like is if we purchase the building for $1,125,000, and let's just say we set $200,000 aside to do what we need to do to get the upstairs, the 1,600 square feet finished, do that. We're going to then take it to close to 6,000 square feet. We're going to meet all our needs, and we're going to be under or right at 1.3 million when we're said and done. And we have a police department that's a building that's in a lot better shape than probably what we're currently in. It gives us a lot more space. It fulfills all our needs now and years to come. And if you look at what the going rate is right now, we have a neighboring municipality that is in the process of building a new police department right now. and they're paying 400 and,
72 a square.
yeah, it's 472 a square, and they're gonna end up having $4.5 million, where we can get in this building for 1.3. So when you look at that and see what we can get here and the value that we get, it's a great deal, I feel like, for the city of Cherryville and the citizens going forward.
Parking.
So if you,
Yeah, to me, just in my mind right now, I'm thinking,
There's actually
there's not
20
enough parking.
there's actually 23 parking spaces there on that property. But if you're looking at that building, facing that building to the right-hand side, the city already owns that large parking area right there. We also own the parking lot at the rescue squad. So as far as citizens coming to the police department, they would park in the front. Those parking places in the front would be designated strictly for them. Admin and day shift staff would park in the back of the building. There's, I think, 7 or 8 parking spaces along the back side of the building between there and the rescue squad. And then, like our spare cars, we would probably put them either in the building between City Hall and that building, or at the rescue squad one of those two. We could, so there's plenty of parking right there. I mean,
And also, as we do the remodel on City Hall, part of that is we're gonna redo that entire parking lot.
Some of those islands maybe
Yeah.
could be
And
taken
we've talked
out.
about we know we can take out the first island. We would take out the second island in between City Hall and this building and just have that all open. For
basically
parking.
2 sections of that is what we kind of looked at. So
Yeah, there'll be a small section of that second island that we can't remove because of a storm drain. But I think we can take out enough to where it's gonna give us even more parking.
We had talked about redoing the sidewalks.
Yeah, that's, when we do this remodel, that's the goal, is to do the parking lot and do that sidewalk as you pull in.
You're gonna do the one on Vicky's side as well?
Well, I mean, we probably will, but I'm more looking at this property right now.
I told
Yeah.
Vicky years ago we were gonna do that. She said, yeah, right.
Yeah, that needs to be done as well, but like I said, I'm just looking at this side of the road right now, trying to figure out how we're gonna do this one.
And that section closest to this building's hardly ever used anyway.
pretty much right now, the only people parking there are the folks from EMS. So once all this is taken care of and there's some moving going around, that parking lot would pretty much be open to just us and traffic for City Hall. So, there would be, and there's probably 40 parking spaces in that parking lot.
I think it will enhance the looks all the way around.
Oh, yeah,
That whole block.
the whole block's gonna look a lot
The
better.
whole block is gonna look so much better.
I think with the growth that we're gonna experience in the next 3 to 5 years, I think it's a no-brainer. It's gonna set us up for success for the next 20, 25 years, honestly.
I mean, it's well needed now. It's really gonna be needed in 3 to 5, so.
What's the rescue squad building being used for? Storage?
Storage.
Just storage.
Most of the stuff in there right now is our stuff from like Whoville and Scaryville and all that type of stuff.
The roof was repaired on that building, right?
They repaired it, but now we didn't go in there and replace it. I mean, it probably needs $100,000 worth of work to get it the right way. We just done as much as we could possibly do to keep it from leaking.
And now we wouldn't be abandoning that building currently, right? We have the one they're in now.
Oh, no.
So we
Yeah, maybe.
have plans for that.
What we hope to do is, if we purchase this building, we would try to start as quickly as possible, getting bids, contractors to do. I mean, it's not a lot of work. Build a few walls, put up some sheetrock, some paint, get them moved in there. I mean, we talked about it. We're probably gonna say realistically, it would probably take to July or August at least to get the switch. Get the police department in there by July or August, and then the goal is we would take, public works director, electric department director, Ben and Chris, and give them an office at the existing police department. Probably create some more storage, and then we're looking at some other things. Obviously, we got some other moves that we're we're looking at making with gyms, of course, and we're gonna talk to them and see if they would like to possibly move down there instead of, I mean, we're definitely gonna move them from City Hall, but would you rather go to the police department or the fire department? And it might be better if we can just give them basically that section that Chief Hunsucker's office is in, that right-hand side of the building, and let that be where Jim's possibly goes.
And you have a place for their vehicles already there, right?
There is power sources out there already for the ambulances.
You know how I get hung up so much on generators? Will they be able to have a generator?
We would have to get them a generator.
Yes.
At the police department. Obviously, that's gonna be a requirement with DCI and everything. We have to have a generator. So we would have to look at something there, either getting the one that's at City Hall repaired and moved to utilize it if we move the police department there, or we'd have to see about, either buying a new one or doing something, but they would have to have a
Yeah,
generator.
they would have to. Do you currently have one now?
Yeah.
Okay, you currently do, so,
So, and that would still be in use for EMS if they went in that building, or?
with Chris,
if they were
yeah,
there too,
Chris
so-
and Ben, yeah, that'd be
yeah.
good for them to have one, yeah.
They'll be able to plug their ambulances in
Yes.
to that section, because they've got to keep fluids at a body temperature, right?
There is, we already have 4 charging stations there, where we charge our patrol cars now. So, that charging system is already in place for them. All they'd have to do is back up to it and, plug in, so.
So, with that being said, we've kind of worked through the negotiating and talking to the owner of the building and the real estate agent, and we're prepared to, purchase the building for $1,125,000. I would, in my mind, I would go ahead and say 1.3, because we're going to need that to get the remodel completed, as far as the painting, building a few walls, getting the 1,600 square feet upstairs redone for the evidence room and the training room. But we feel like for 1.3, we can get in there and have the building completely done and be ready to go.
Now, have you submitted an offer already contingent on this?
We submitted paperwork basically saying, hey, this is what we're willing to offer, but it's contingent upon city council approval.
Is it still on the market?
Yes. So it is time
Yeah,
sensitive.
we need to move fast. if we're
Yeah,
gonna do
it is time sensitive. I mean, but it's all contingent on what you decide on whether you want to purchase the building or not.
Is this gonna be a budgetary item?
Well, my thought process is we pay cash, no loans. We pay cash for the building and we're done. Obviously, we had our audit the last time you heard. Our fund balance is extremely healthy. We're at a 44% fund balance. So my recommendation is that we use some out of our general fund and we use some out of our electrical fund, because obviously electric is going to take the existing police department. So we use some of their funds to pay for this building, and then we pay cash and we're done, and it's done. We don't have to worry about loans or anything like that.
No, and it's good to be looking at it now, because everything we're doing, even right now, is planning for the future. And this is, I've done math. I won't be here in 25 years. I don't care. But, that is
gonna
our
be gone a
job,
lot
to look to the future. I'd like to be, and I hope I'm in good shape. But I wouldn't count on it.
When you think about, I will say, if you look at our existing police department, it's since 1995, I think is when the police went down there, moved from City Hall down there. Now, that police department has been in bad shape for a number of years. I would say, as far as the shape of the building and the look of the building, it's probably in better shape right now than it has ever been. So, going forward, we still have a good building for our electric and public works department, and should gyms go down there.
And where is all the stuff, you got a plan for it, that's up in the rescue squad building, will be going?
So we have a 3-bay building at the police department currently. There's a 3-bay building here at the rescue squad. That stuff would all fit in that building perfectly. That building's got a new roof, that building's got doors on it. So instead of it being here, it would just be there, would be my suggestion. That way
Is that
it
something
gives us.
Chris wouldn't need down there? Chris wouldn't need that.
Well, probably not, because I'm not gonna move my equipment there or anything, just be kind of an office.
It's
Exactly,
just your
It's
office.
gotta be built anyway, didn't it?
Yeah, we're good on that.
yeah.
You know, and
You'd
obviously,
actually
we
have a
don't,
desk to work at, wouldn't you?
we don't wanna take a bunch of equipment and put right there on Highway 150. We wanna leave that at our current public works.
Sure.
And that,
Oh, yeah.
the current police department be more for office space for them to have meetings or whatever they need to do.
Yeah, because they don't have much space. They really don't. Public Works to do what they need to do and meet with their people.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I like it.
Okay,
I think it's a win-win
Are
for
we-
everybody.
I'm
Are
waiting on
any other
y'all.
questions of, the, Chief or Brian? Are there any other comments or questions? Are we, ready to, vote?
Need a motion.
Let's get a
I
motion.
make a motion, we move forward with this offer and do everything we can to purchase this building. I probably didn't word it right, but you can fix it, can't you?
That sounded pretty good. That sounded pretty
I'll
good. And
second
Jill
it.
seconded
I'll
it.
Can we include authority for City Manager Dalton to execute
Yeah,
contracts?
that's understood.
Okay, thank you.
We will include that in Gary's motion. Jill seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going forward with this project. We are moving forward this project. Okay. City Manager's report.
Yes, ma'am. Only thing I will say is, as you know, Councilman Freeman, Mayor Strapp, we met with Perfect Game a few weeks ago. We did have another meeting last week with Perfect Game and a hotel about basically a joint agreement on how we can look at getting the field. If we get the fields turfed and we bring these tournaments to town, is a hotel interested in coming here to Cherryville and building a site here? And they are. Perfect Game is sending a lot of data as far as, hey, this is what we're gonna bring. They're gonna get that to the hotel, as far as helping them make a decision. Hey, are they gonna bring enough people to town every week to supply enough people to rent these rooms? So, I feel confident that that's gonna be the case and the numbers are gonna look good. So hopefully, in the near future, we're gonna have something coming there. We don't have anything as far as a written contract yet, as far as, you know, Perfect Game coming in here and turfing the fields and us giving them the fields for, 35 weekends a month. We don't have anything in writing, no contracts drawn up to look at yet, but it is in the works. And I would say, the other thing, I sent you a lot of emails. I probably got on your nerves sending so many emails last week, but if you remember a few weeks ago, Mr. Twiggs came and our CIP plan for our infrastructure and where we're at as far as trying to apply for grants and what projects are we going to try to accomplish first. So I sent you an email the other week where you could see that we're looking at probably the biggest one that he had on the list was a new transmission line. Potentially, we'll apply for grants, we'll try to get there, but have another transmission line from the water plant where we're not relying on just one transmission line to town. That way we can have another means of getting water to town from the water plant. We're starting the process. We actually have a pre-bid meeting in the morning for the force main at Ballard Pump Station. So contractors are coming in the morning for a pre-bid meeting to make sure everybody's on the same page for doing the force main down at Ballard, and that's just from the lift station up to Old Post Road. The rest of the force main will be looked at a later time as far as coming all the way to town. And those are probably the two biggest projects right now. We're getting close, I believe, talking to Riesel as far as hopefully bidding out the water line on Highway 150 very soon. But like I said, the force main, we should be getting bids hopefully by the second week of March. And then we'll award that and try to get that completed.
Well, I think it's just great that you're considering this new transmission line from the water plant. I think that is one of the best things you've mentioned so far. That is very important.
Yeah, I can remember it's probably been close to 14 or 15 years ago, but I remember we had a major break in the transmission line. And obviously we couldn't get water to town at that point from the water plant, so we had to go turn on the interconnect, with the city of Lincoln. So
Yeah, I don't remember that. I was not involved.
yeah, it's about 14 or so years
During that
ago,
time, I wasn't
remember it.
involved, but I can certainly foresee that could happen at any time.
And obviously that line's been there a long time.
Yes.
So it's time to get that looked at. And, and remember what we're looking at is, the email I sent you all with the projects that Mr. Twiggs listed out. What we'll do is we'll try to get as much through grants that we can possibly get. And then the remainder, we will look at very low interest rate loans from DEQ to hopefully fill the gap. And it's a 8 to 10 year process to try to do a lot of these projects. But it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot on the table.
Well, they're expensive items, but they're necessary, and
Very
that's what
much
we're looking
needed,
for,
yes.
too.
And the thing to remember too is if you just look at the oxidation ditch, we completed that other oxidation ditch 2 years ago, and we spent not even $500,000. So doing the same thing 2 years later, it's went up $250,000. So everything is going up every day, it seems like, especially with these water and sewer projects. So the more we can get done and the quicker we can get it done, the less it costs us in the long run.
Thank you, City Manager. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, does the council have any business?
I wanted to follow up too about, if the county's been instructed about that lot over there, if we've been able to get in touch with anybody.
Ooh,
For
I
them
have
to
not.
okay,
I have
just,
not talked. I have
well,
not
not
talked to
yet.
any school
because it's
board.
gonna start, the one right beside of East Elementary School.
Oh,
Because it's
oh.
gonna start and grow, summer's coming and spring, and it'll just start. The overgrowth is horrible. It's gonna be even harder for them to clean it out. It's a lot easier now, if they'll do it.
I thought you were talking about the lot that Tommy told us about.
Oh, that lot has been cleaned. Yes, that has been completed. Public Works guys went down there. They did a great job. If you ride down there and look at it, you can see it's completely clean now.
And just, it's one across from your house. But if you've noticed it too, and that is what is so bad, is I see people, they have nice homes, they keep them up, it looks good. But I see stuff cut and the trash from their cuttings or anything else is taken across there and just laid on that property, and that just shouldn't be
I
allowed.
don't do that, but my neighbor does.
Yes.
Oh, you talking about like
You.
yard debris and stuff?
Yeah, yard debris.
Yard debris, cutting limbs and things, they don't wanna leave it on their side to
Well,
be picked up.
you know,
And, I feel the same way. It looks so trashy over there. Why not just,
I'm gonna be honest with you, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. With everything that I see with Gaston County school system right now, I think we'll be extremely lucky if we can get them to do anything with this lot. Extremely.
Yeah, Cherryville always seems to be on the bottom of the list, right?
Well, and I'm not saying it's that, but they have a lot of issues with, when you got 11 high schools and however many elementary and middle schools, I think it will be hard pressed for us to get them to come in there and cut trees down and clean that up. But we'll see.
Well, if they could just maybe not necessarily cut trees, but just clean out clean it up around there.
Well, yeah, the ones that have fallen, you know. over
Yeah, the
years.
ones, the trees that have fallen, yes.
There used to be a walking trail in there, but I'd be hard
nature
pressed to
trail.
see
You
it.
can't walk the
Nature
trail anymore, you
trail.
have to go around the fallen trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With spring coming, there's no way.
And if you think about
Well,
it, that's the property they were going to put an all-purpose soccer field on. But we talked them into the basketball field, or basketball gym over here. And y'all, I was up there on the final night, and that place was packed from the first game to the last. And there was people waiting, so one team went in, they'd all leave, and it'd be packed again. It was packed the whole time. That's the best thing we ever did, was not let them build us a football soccer field at that East School property. Because it was amazing to see that thing full of people, full of kids.
Yeah, I even heard you got to give out the medals.
I did, they put me to work. They put me to work.
One other thing, Brian, too, in case anyone asks a question, I got a phone call from Lance today. And if you've noticed, they're on our Veterans Corner right back of where they're building the perch. I didn't realize how far back it was coming. He wanted to know if any of the crepe myrtles were in memory of somebody, because they were going to have to take one out. But I told him, I said, no, I bought those and I set them out there. So what's needing to be done? But told me they'd pulled out all of the what was remaining of those holly trees we cut down. They are at its back over where the railroad ties were. So I suggested to him that if you're pulling one out, pull them all out, because you can't put something back and it look like anybody. So if somebody says something and thinks that they've destroyed the Veterans Corner,
Tell me exactly
we're
what you're
allowed
talking
it.
about.
Huh?
Where are we talking about?
right there across from the
Baseball field in the
from the
corner there.
post, right there on that corner.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I told
I
him the
just need
fence
to
is
know
gonna
exactly
come
where we're talking
further
about.
back, and I said, I'd rather us put something back there once we know.
Yeah, they was out there
So-
looking at it the other day, and when they put the fence back up, the crepe myrtle is right in the area where the fence will have to go.
Because they gotta have room around it to do that, so I told him today, I said, do what you gotta do. And then we'll put something back, because it's gonna be so nice. It's gonna be nice this season.
Okay.
So if y'all get somebody to say something to you, we know it. It's already
I'll say
been
call
done.
Jill.
It's- Yeah, that's what Tony had told him. But I said, yeah, it's okay. I'll buy something else to go there.
All right.
That'll be fine.
Any more?
Brad, could you give us a quick report on the downtown director position? I know David retired. What are you thinking on that?
Well, we're still looking at our everything right now, but I look for Emily Dellinger to take on that role going forward.
So she's gonna be coming full-time
Yes, yes.
soon, right?
We were already planning on bringing her full-time, starting in May. But yes, she will become full-time here in the near future. We might move that up to April 1st, hopefully. And she'll take on that role going
Okay.
forward.
She actually has a degree in that, doesn't
I
she?
know there's a lot of questions and talk in the community about it.
Yes, there is. I've had a couple calls about it, yes.
Well, just let me say, the Main Street program, we have all intentions of staying in the Main Street program. The Main Street program is not a major expense or anything to the city of Cherryville. It's only like a $400 membership or something like that to stay involved per year. And then they go to here in a couple weeks, actually, they have the Main Street event, and I think it's in New Bern this year. They'll go to that, but it's not a major expense to the city of Cherryville. I look for us to stay in the Main Street program, do the reports that need to be done, and keep capitalizing on everything that we've already done over the past 10 years or so. I don't see anything changing.
She's been doing a good job, I'll have to say,
Absolutely.
with my discussions with her.
All right.
All right, do I have a motion to
I'll
adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? We are adjourned.